All right, and we are now streaming live. Hi, my name is Jacob Erdy with MarketingPlayBook.co, where we teach small businesses to increase their sales and reputation online through digital marketing. And today we're going to be talking about local SEO for small businesses. And in the past, we have done a hangout, or way early on, back in the day, on on-page SEO. So sorry there. I had a brain fart there. So yeah, we had an episode covering on-page SEO, and it was pretty interesting. And we covered a lot of the on-page factors that you really need to rank. And today we're just going to kind of revisit that topic, and we can't really dive in too much detail on local SEO for small businesses, just because it would honestly take like several hangouts just to talk about like offsite optimization. But we're going to go ahead and touch upon a lot of the top basics for you that you need to focus on in order to rank and work well with Google and with Bing. So this is going to be, and you can follow along on the show notes page. My apologies there, because the show notes are not complete yet. And as many of you know, I do have a young child now. She's 8 weeks old, and took a lot of my time last night and a lot of my time today and the day before. So that's just the way the cookie crumbles, right? So I wasn't able to get as much done as I wanted. I wanted to kind of tighten up the guide for you, but what we have is pretty good, and I think you're going to enjoy it, and I think you're going to be able to get a lot out of it too as well. So this is going to be episode 21, and you can find it on marketingplaybook.co /episode 21, the number. So let's go ahead and just dive in real quick. And if you want to look at the older hangout that we did, which is going to be small business on-page SEO strategy, something along those lines, it's going to be under the Hangouts tabs. Just go to marketingplaybook.co, the Hangouts, live Hangouts up on top, and scroll all the way down. It's one of the earlier episodes that we did. The audio quality won't be as good. The video quality won't be as good. The background will be horrible, but still, it's a good guide. So definitely check it out. So what we're going to cover today is something that most SEO professionals do. So just note that if you're in a really, really heavy competition and in a big city, chances are you probably will need an expert. And if you look at the vast majority of the companies that are going to be ranking, let's say for emergency plumbing, for instance, which we're going to talk a little bit about today, you'll find that if you live in a fairly big city, that you're going to have some major competition. And the same goes for a lot of other products and a lot of other services out there. And these individuals and companies have enough money, and they've went out and they've hired SEO experts. And those SEO experts have really helped to build up that individual's brand and brand name online, and therefore they're going to stomp a lot of the other smaller businesses out. And that's just the way it ultimately works. So competition kind of improves, forces people to improve their website content, improve their navigation. It forces you to take a lot of actions to really try to protect your brand name online, and that costs money. But still, what we're going to share with you is still going to be very, very valid. And even if you do have a lot of competition, there's no reason for you not to be able to take over that number one position, especially because so many of these businesses kind of fall off. They start doing SEO and then they stop. And then they start again, then they stop, and then they start, then they stop. And with SEO, it's a constant. So it's going to take a lot longer for you to get results, which is why, I focus on paid marketing for the most part. And I do that just because it works. Once you get it going, you control the traffic flow. So you control, how much traffic is coming into you and your sales and your leads process. And nobody's going to be able to take that away from you. But with Google, however, one day you might wake up and, you were number one in Google and it's gone. So you might be number 20 now. For whatever reason, something happened, somewhere, something. Google may not have liked what you did, or there could be a lot of other reasons behind it, but you don't control that. So I should say you have less control over that than with paid traffic channels. So definitely, the focus should be on paid, and I've preached this on several of the Hangouts before. So as always, we do our live Hangouts every Wednesday at 2 p.m. so Central Standard Time. So be sure and sign up to our newsletter if you're interested. And we also have a private Facebook page too as well, where you can ask any questions. If you don't want to ask them openly to the general public, you can join our private Facebook group, I should say. And then we do have a public page on Facebook and a Google community too. And all that's going to be under the community links on the marketing.co playbook website. So first, let's talk a little bit about where you appear and where you appear in the search engine results. So for this example, we're just going to talk about Google. And I know Bing says they have like 27% of the market share. Really, it's like 10%. I swear. I don't know how they arrived at that 27%. It's a great traffic source, don't get me wrong, but optimize on Bing. Optimize for Google. That's pretty much what everybody does, and that's what you should be doing too. Now, you could take the extreme and say, hey, it's too complicated for Google. I'm going to focus 100% on Bing. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that if you have a lot of volume in your field and all you can afford to go after is those leftover scraps. It's a legitimate strategy. One I usually don't recommend, but there have been instances where I've actually recommended that strategy before. But let's go ahead and take a look at Google. So if you were to type in emergency plumbing into Google, and let me share my screen with you because I'm going to show you the live results for you. And hopefully the screen looks nice. And the screen doesn't look like it's showing up for anybody yet. Let's see. Browser. Yeah, it doesn't look like it kicked in. I'm not sure why. So we'll keep it on. We'll just keep it here, and then I'll just describe it for you. So when you type in emergency plumbing into Google, the first thing you see is you're going to see the first 4 ads that come in there. So the first 4 search results are going to be paid ads that come in, and then underneath that you're going to have the map listings, and the map listing is going to be 3. So it's going to have 3 ads. 3 sections there, and then the next 10 results after the first 7, once you scroll a complete page down, is when the organic listings first come, and that's what we refer to generally when we're talking about SEO, is that organic listing. So the first 10 organic listings underneath the 4-page map search it, underneath the 4-page ads, underneath the map listings of 3, and then at the very, very bottom, you're going to have an additional up to 3 different ads showing there as well. So you're kind of in the center of it, but being there can be extremely beneficial because there's a lot of people out there who just aren't going to click those first links. They might ignore them. They might have an ad block on. If they are using an ad blocker, they're not going to see any of those ads. They'll still see the Google Map listings, generally, for now anyways. And then underneath that, you're going to have the plumbers, so the actual 10 listings that we have. And in our case today, we have the first 4 there. We're going to have MrRooter.com, and I think that's the one we're going to use for our example today. And let me switch over, try the browser one more time. I'm going to try settings. Sorry if you're seeing multiple things here. There we go. We're going to say yes, use that. All right, so now it should be up for you. So let me adjust this a little bit. Sorry there, guys. All right. So we have Mr. Rooter here. We have emergency plumbers, and the first 4 listings that we're talking about today. So we'll scroll down here, and the question could be, where are you going to put the focus on for SEO? And maybe I should have started off on this way. And this is why I have show notes to help keep me on topic here. And that is what is SEO? And this is from Search Engine Land. And SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. It's the process of getting traffic from the free, organic, or editorial or natural search results on Google or search engines in general, right? So you have Google and Bing. Somebody types in emergency plumbers. After all the paid stuff, you have their organic listings coming in. And that's really what you're optimizing for, is those organic listings. And now the next question is where to focus your SEO efforts. So your biggest focus is on protecting your brand name, which is your company. So every optimization step that you take really should reinforce your brand. And it should reinforce exactly what it is, the product and services you are selling, but all that plays a role, but you need to protect your brand. So way early on in my digital marketing career, I started up 100 plus different websites. Now I ranked number one for carpet cleaning. I ranked number one for all kinds of like glorious terms, but I didn't protect my brand name. And all I was doing is just getting backlinks, and back way early on, this is all you needed to really rank well. Yeah, there was content and things along those lines, but it was just backlinks, backlinks, backlinks. Now, pretty much each and every one of those websites that I had ranking really well for hundreds of terms, and I was getting in hundreds of thousands of views on a daily basis. And all these sites pretty much have all gone by the wayside. And the reason why is because I didn't protect the brand for it. And because of that, I lost an extremely large amount of income once the search engines kind of updated their algorithms. And if I was a local business, I would have, and this happened to many businesses too as well. Now, if I was a local business and I focused on, or not even a local business, but if I focused on protecting my brand, those sites would still be here. Now, chances are, I wouldn't have made the money that I made ranking, and I probably wouldn't have ever gotten to be number one in carpet cleaning and the like. But that was on a national level, not necessarily a local level. And when it comes to a local ranking for a local level, it's a lot easier to do. Now, as I mentioned, there's still a lot of intense competition, but really, when every step you take when it comes to SEO should be about protecting your brand and representing your brand. Just keep that in mind. So if you go to do something, always ask yourself, is this helping my brand, or could it hurt my brand? And if you look at it and you say, well, this could actually hurt my brand, just don't do it. So it's just not worth it. And I would walk away from it no matter what anybody else says, no matter what a consultant says. Just walk away from it. Just know that it's probably not the right way to go. So what should be your top areas of focus? So when it comes to local SEO, your top areas of focus are going to be your on-page optimization, your quality content. So writing very easy to understand articles, well broken out. It's themed, it makes sense, it flows easy, and things along those lines. Easy navigation comes into play, so being able to navigate to the product and service that they want. Things along those lines, having a mobile responsive web page. And off-page optimization, which is simply, really, it's just backlinks that have your brand in mind, so that keeping that with that brand protection at all times. And I'll talk a little bit more about that here. I'll talk about all of these here. So, and that's really all off-page optimization is. You can get really complicated and spend hours and hours and hours on it. We'll probably do a whole show just on off-page optimization at some point in time. But just know that anything you do backlink wise, is it representing your brand in a positive light? Is it beneficial for your brand? If not, don't do it. And next up for the top areas of focusing is going to be your Google Maps listing. So this is probably the most important, even more important, I would say, to some extent than your website, and I'll get into why that is. And then you have your social signals, and followed up by your social proof. So the social signals and social proof, I would rank social proof above social signals, just because social proof gives you that authority. So that might be something like a BBB logo, or paying for a site seal, an SSL certificate, that seal that you have on your website that gives people that warm fuzzy feeling of you're protected, right? So as well as reviews such as a Google Map listing. We'll talk a little bit more about that here. So first up, let's talk more about on-page optimization. So with on-page optimization, there's a big difference between writing sales copy and having a landing page that converts. So that versus having a landing page that ranks well in Google. So oftentimes if I were to take over an ad campaign and I were to set something up for a client, I'll generally look at the website, and I'm never going to send traffic to their SEO pages per se, to the normal web pages they have on their site. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write a whole new page, have it generally no index, no follow, and I write sales copy on that page. And the reason for doing that is because I don't have to meet some Google requirement for ranking in SEO. My sole focus when I'm sending paid traffic to a specific page is to write ad copy that converts and converts well for the client. So this isn't going to be their normal website, and that's something that a lot of businesses aren't currently doing. They generally, you'll send it to an SEO'd page, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that as long as the sales copy is there. You could be fine, but chances are, you don't necessarily want to be messing a lot with that page and testing it out over and over and over. So I generally send paid traffic to a different page. That way I can easily swap out headlines and titles and all this other stuff without having to worry about will it affect my SEO rankings. So let's kind of move that to the side, right? So when you're writing these pages for SEO purposes, these are going to be the pages, your home page, your navigation links, and things along those lines. And you want to write them specifically for Google, the search engine. So you're not writing these pages necessarily for being sales pages. They are, right? So that is a focus of the page because you still need to convert. But first and foremost, you're trying to rank, right? So that's your first and foremost focus, and you can always tighten up the ad copy at a later date. So first up is going to be the title of the page, and so generally this is exactly what this is generally shows up in Google. I'll switch it back over to our example now that it's working. I hope it's working for you guys. So here we go, and this is for emergency plumbing. And these are the first 4 organic results. And something that you're going to notice right here is this is the title tag, right? So right in here is the title tag of each and every one of these pages. And I want to point this out real quick. If we look at all of these, you're going to see that right here. Rescue Rooter from Rescue Rooter. Ben Franklin. Roto-Rooter. And you're going to see that all the time, that the top companies are protecting their brand. So in the title of the URL, at the end of that title, for that focused keyword, for those pages, they are being brand specific. They're thinking brand first. So they're branding themselves as Rescue Rooter, as Ben Franklin. And this comes into play, if you're doing other types of advertising online and people type in emergency plumber, chances are they're going to recognize the brand name. So if they've seen a Ben Franklin ad for Ben Franklin plumbing, chances are they're going to be like, oh, there's Ben Franklin, I know them. Boom. And they're not looking at this right here. They're really not really looking at the websites per se. They're looking at the titles, and then oftentimes they're just jumping into the description for it. So that is what a title tag is. And if I go over to we'll use the first example of Mr. Rooter here. If we go in here is their title tag right here, and emergency plumbing services, licensed plumbers. So that's the first one. They're actually not using the brand there per se. And maybe they don't have to. They do have it in their meta description, so that's important to point out. So if we actually look here, right here, they're doing their branding right there. If we look at these other ones, okay, Rescue Rooter's branding there, Ben Franklin is branding in there, Roto-Rooter is branding in there. So you see that they do still are still representing their brands and their names there. So next up is going to be the H1 tags. So let's go to the actual website itself, and right here, this is the Mr. Rooter website. So right here is their H1 tag, right? And H1 tag is generally the title in your article. So as you're writing an article, if this is WordPress, it'd be the title section. That'd be your H1 tag. And H1 tags basically still play a pretty big role overall for SEO. So that H1 tag tells Google the theme of the website. So in this case, they have emergency plumbing repairs. So it's kind of interesting that they used repairs instead of just repair, and interesting that they didn't just use emergency plumbing, right? They used emergency plumbing repairs. And now, they probably arrived at that because A, it sounds more natural, B, it includes another keyword in there. Chances are people are doing, plumbing repair and things along those lines. So this gives them an option. Basically, they're adding keywords to their title tags to make, Google, to show Google that, hey, this page is about emergency plumbing repairs. So they are giving themselves the opportunity to rank for many different keywords and different keywords combinations in there. Now, You do not want to just keyword stuff here. You don't want to just put in blah, 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 and nothing but keywords. You want it to be very, very readable. You want it to sound natural. There's nothing wrong with having the keyword in there. You want the keyword in there. But you also want to ensure that you're not just stuffing it in, and also that you're protecting your brand. So let's go ahead and let's look at next up is going to be the actual. We cover the H1 tag. We're going to talk about the meta descriptions real quick. So meta descriptions is what shows in Google right here, generally, not always, but it's going to be the second part. Now, back in the day, meta descriptions really, really mattered when it came to SEO on page factors. Now, not so much. It's not a ranking factor anymore. So when it comes to the copy that you have here, what you want to do with your meta description is you want it to display something that has a kind of call to action in it, something that entices the user to click on your ad copy over somebody else's ad copy. So, looking at this initially off the bat, this actually stands out a little bit more to me than this first one. This first one does have the registered trademark in there, so that kind of draws your eyes in. But we are available 24/7. Well, I'm looking for emergency plumbing. The fact that this is at the end and has exclamation point, it does a better job blending in than something like this up here. So, what you're doing there, I really, really like this call today. That's telling the individual to take action. And they're saying, hey, 24-hour emergency plumbing services, 7 days a week. And they're also using the geo call out, Minneapolis, St. Paul. So, that's important there. So they have call today, they have a call to action. They're using something geo-specific to that area, which is Minneapolis and St. Paul. They covered our search query, which is emergency plumbing. They're telling us that they're 24 hours. So whether it's a gas leak or a toilet repair, so they have a lot in there, which is really, really nice. So this is a compelling meta description. So there you don't have to worry about necessarily keyword stuffing. You don't want the keyword in there, but at the same time, your main focus is on writing quality ad copy when it comes to the meta description. So let's switch back over and see what else we have here to talk about. Besides, I covered the meta description. I covered the H1 tag. Next, let's go ahead and talk about quality content. So if we look and go back over to our example on Mr. Rooter, which they're going to like that I'm using this. One thing I do love is this right here. Boom, look at that. The phone number's front and center. It's really, really nice. It's in a different font. It's fairly big, and it's really, really clear. And then they have a schedule an appointment over to the right, and you might not be able to see that as well. But they have a form right over here that for an individual to fill out for lead generation. So if we look at this content, though, it's really broken up very, very well. It's in a nice readable font, and they don't have run-on sentences. It's very clear content, so they got 2 paragraphs there. They have, the title. They're doing another 2 paragraphs. They're doing another call to action, schedule your appointment today with the number. Another nice section, paragraph. So it's really, really broken out very, very well. And it's very, very themed. So they're talking about, emergency plumbing in general and their products and services. So if you were to have a content page that's focused on, let's say, brake repair, yeah, you can mention your other services, but that page itself, that content needs to be about brake repair. And you can talk about the different brakes that you use, the diagnostic process. You can talk a little bit about costs if you want to eliminate more tire kickers. And things along those lines. You can tell a little about your story, how long you've been in business, things along those lines. But the focus of the page for content is brake repair. So focus on brake repair and mention stuff along those lines and how important those brakes are and stuff like that. So having that quality content, the goal is not to keyword stuff at all. And really it's 3 things to focus on. That's keep people on your site longer. So that helps reduce your bounce rate. So when somebody clicks through your ad in Google, or not your ad, but your organic search listing in Google, and they land on your landing page, Google knows when they hit that back button, right, to go back to the search results. So if the content isn't laid out in a really, really nice, readable way, which is why you have it mobile responsive and things along those lines, and it's not broken down into readable paragraphs and it's not relevant or answering the user's search query, they're going to bounce. They're going to hit that back button and leave your site, and that's called a bounce. So we want them to spend more time on our site, and when they spend more time on our site, Google's going to compare that to the other search results and say, well, you know what, this person is getting traffic to their site. They got a good title and good meta description. Therefore, people clicking on your ad, I keep saying ad, sorry, in your search listing more than maybe somebody above you, and they're like, and they're staying on the site longer. So this must be more relevant. Therefore, we're going to rank them above them. So it works very, very similar in that aspect compared to like your click-through rate with ad copy and quality score. You're trying to get a really good quality score by boosting that click-through rate, which is why you have an on-themed meta description with a call to action in there, which is why you have a good tight title and H1 tags, things along those lines. And so next, the goal for the page is going to be to produce a landing page that entices users to take a specific course of action, and this could be filling out a form or excuse me, or giving you a call. So you still have to have that sales goal in mind, because ultimately you need those leads. So when it comes to quality content, you need to make sure that, hey, you have those call to actions in there, which is why I use that emergency plumbing page, because it had multiple call to actions in there, and they were very, very clear. They had an on-page form as well as a phone number in multiple locations broken out within the very well written paragraphs. So that was a really, really good example of what to do. And then you have to have a single focus for that specific page. And this I already talked about. So if you're doing car brake repair, don't start talking about all your other services. Yes, you can have them listed. You can have them in the navigation. You can have them things like that. But, keep that focus on the brake repair and answer the user's questions. So go through the mind of what your customer is when it comes to brake repair. What is it that they're looking for? Are they looking for, you using specific brands or products? Are they price sensitive? Are they looking for the quality of work? Are you good at this? How long have you been doing brake repair? Things along those lines that give that customer that warm, fuzzy feeling to say, oh yeah, I can trust these guys. And next up, we're going to talk a little bit about easy navigation. Easy navigation, we touched upon it, having a mobile responsive web page. So if you have Google Analytics installed, and I talked far more about this in the small business on-page SEO strategy, which is one of our first Hangouts that we did, and having that easy navigation is really, really important. So an individual, when they land on your site, let's say they end up landing on your homepage, they're searching for brake repair, and your brake repair homepage or your car business, for whatever reason, the brake repair shows up first, your homepage, before brake repair. Well, they need to be able to go to that listing in your homepage and easily find the brake repair service. So it needs to be very, very easy and navigatable for them to then click on it and find the content that they want. So they need to be able to navigate your site, find your store hours, find your location, things along those lines. Your site needs to be very easy to navigate, and it doesn't have to be really, really complicated. You could just have a really simple navigation bar, services, hit it. Here's all of our services. Something really, really simple. You can list out all your services in like a sidebar, and just make sure that it's easy navigation. With Google Analytics, you can go in and make sure that, okay, people on mobile devices you'll be able to see that people on mobile devices are leaving my site really, really quickly. Well, why is that? Well, if you look on your phone, you can probably see why that is. It's probably because your website looks awful on a mobile phone, or it might look awful in Firefox. For whatever reason, your CSS isn't playing nice with Firefox, and those are all things that you need to look at and get resolved. So now on to off-page optimization, which, like I said, I could talk about this for several hours on end, and just because there's so much that goes into it. And really, at the end of the day, you need to make sure that, and I'm going to reinforce this to you and drill it into your head till you get it, and that is that every backlink you get should benefit your brand, and it should represent your brand. So you don't want to just have links coming in from all sorts of shady places. You want to make sure that those links that you're getting are high quality links, and it's always best if you can control those links. Now, you're not going to be able to control all the links to your website, but you can control a lot of them. that come to your website, and you do that through your social websites, you do that through articles, through PR, press releases, and things along those lines. Now, starting off, I recommend that 90% of your backlinks should just be naked links starting off, and that means that all the links you get pointing back to your website should be in the URL, should just be the URL itself linking back to you. So if I was MarketingPlayBook.co and a link coming back to my website, what am I going to call it? I'm going to call it MarketingPlayBook.co or HTTP / MarketingPlayBook.co. Or if it was the full URL of that specific article, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put in that naked links, just the URL and link back to me. If you do that, then you're not really going to have any over optimization penalties that are going to come into you. And it's a really, really safe way to go, especially if you don't control that asset. So if you don't control the website that the article's on, or that specific place where you got that link from, having that naked link isn't necessarily going to hurt you at all, because you just have it going back to your URL. And believe me, Google's going to look at that and say, okay, well, look, it's coming in, and we know what your page is about, so we're going to rank you. We know the location of your website, because you have your address on there, and you've claimed your Google Maps listing and things along those lines. So they're going to see all that and already know what your website is about. So 90% naked backlinks. Believe me, that's the way to go starting off. And then the other 10 I would do branded. So you're not even doing any keywords. So if yours was Jay's Automotive Repair, well, guess what? You're linking Jay's Automotive Repair, right? Just 10% of the time, Jay's Automotive Repair. And so in that manner, you're protecting your brand to its fullest, because you're not polluting it with any other keywords or keyword anchor text that are coming back into your website. And believe me, those keyword anchor texts can work really, really well, but you don't need many of them. And that's why, especially starting off, I don't even recommend you do any of it, right? So we're first building that foundation, and then as we go on and later, as we talk more about optimization, this will take you a while to do. So start doing that, lay that foundation first, and then when it comes to a press release or something like that, what you're going to do in your press release is you have that naked link going back to your website or to a specific inner service page. So there might be one link going to your website, one link going to an inner page of a product or service that you're doing. That's all just a naked link. And then you can link out to maybe your Facebook page, it might be your Pinterest page, it might be your LinkedIn. LinkedIn's really, really powerful. And it might be your Twitter, something along those lines. And then those social sites then will link back to your website. So your Facebook, your Twitter, your Pinterest, Google Communities page will then link back to your website. So it kind of helps complete that social profile and shows that you're a real business, because you have these social signals that are coming in from Google for you. So we've talked about, and I'll have it linked in the show notes page. I know I do, under the social signals or social media, something along those lines, about why you should your business be doing social media, and I cover like the content strategies there for social media. So definitely check out that article. It's pretty well written and focuses primarily on small businesses. Now, the number one thing that you really can do for your small business, it isn't even necessarily website related. Now, this helps because it's Offpage and you get a link back to you, but that is claiming Google My Business listing. So we've talked about this numerous times before, especially in our AdWords search and AdWords display training guides. We covered the claiming your business listing. That way, in your ad copy, when you're running paid ads on AdWords and the like, you can have that location icon there, and people can just click that location on their mobile phone and drive to your store if they wanted to. And it'll show you the local location, how far away that business is from you. Well, the same goes, and that's why you have the Google My Business listing for AdWords. But when it comes to having it for your SEO purposes, the Google Map listing shows right underneath the 4 first paid ads. So when you're doing the emergency plumbing, it's the next 3 results after the first 4. Before you have to scroll down on the page is the Google Map listings, and that's where you really want to be, because Google's going to know that location. Chances are the IP that's coming into them, and they're going to show you results of businesses that are close to you. And by claiming that Google business listing and having the exact same address, make sure it's the same address and same phone number in the Google Maps as you have on your home page, and all your pages of your site should have the same address and phone number listed, so Google can relate and say, okay, yeah, these are the exact same, and you know, you're going to get more of a trust there. And also, if you look on, and I can switch this over real quick. If we look over and back to Google, here it is, White Bear Plumbing Inc., Vendace Plumbing Services. So these are all going to be services that are right around me. And here, you know, it's going to tell you, let's see, does it? Yeah, it tells me the mileage location on this one. So this one, chances are they haven't I bet you they haven't even added in their location, because it's not there. So that's a big mistake that they're not doing. Here, I know that this is 1.6 miles away from me. What about this guy? I don't know. So guess what? This one has directions. This one doesn't. And that sucks. And look, this guy right here, he doesn't have a website going. So RC Hoffman Plumbing, you need a website. And so this guy has the complete listing. And right here, we can see that here's some social proof, 4.4 rating of 6. And I can actually dive into this, and it'll show me the Google Maps. I can also go directly to the website. I know his hours of operation. So this is a really, really well done one compared to the other two. And chances are, because it stands out more, just because you're number one doesn't mean much. And so yeah, so you want to make sure that you have this listing going, and that you're directing your clients who are doing review, your customers. You're directing them to write you reviews, and write your reviews on it might be Yelp if you're using Yelp, because that helps to provide social proof to you. I hate Yelp myself. I think it's a scam. I don't like the business. Just forewarning there. But you know, it's a pay-to-play world, and Yelp can help send social signals for you, as well as help give you that social proof. And the same goes with those Google Map listings, of having those reviews there. And the vast majority of businesses that I've used in the last year, I have looked on and searched online, and naturally, you know, I'm not even thinking about it. I just go to the reviews and I look at what customers have to say about it. And don't worry about those really, really poor reviews. Respond to all reviews, respond in a professional manner, and take ownership of any problem. So if somebody leaves you a horrible review, just respond, but respond very, very professionally. Don't rant, don't flame, don't do anything. Just take ownership and say, hey, we'd love to talk to you about this. If you're having issues, we strive for perfect customer service, and you know, sorry that you may not have had the best experience with us, something along those lines. And you know, if you see that, I'm still going to do business with you. I don't really care. I know that so many people who leave 1-star reviews, and you look at their profile, and the only reviews they've ever left are 1-star reviews. The only time they've ever taken the time to write a review was to complain. You think I'm going to pay attention to those people? No. And you're going to see that a lot of individuals who, like me, who rely on these listings, we know this type of stuff. We look at the reviews, and we can see if it's a 1-star that oh, look, they only leave 1-star reviews, so they don't really review anything, they just complain. And those type of people generally aren't going to hurt your business, as long as you respond in a positive light. If you flame and say, oh, it was your fault and you shouldn't have blah 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 and this and that, well, I'm not going to do business with you. It's like, if you're blaming the customer, you're going to blame me if I have an issue. And I don't want to deal with you. So that's my rant for today. I get at least one rant per show, maybe 2. So one of the advantages of having your own show, right? And so that's the Google Maps listing. Make sure you're on it. There's special optimization that you can do just for that. Look into it more. And this is something that if any SEO consultant that you speak to, if this isn't one of the first things out of their mouth, walk away. They're not worth the money. So next up, let's talk real quick about social signals. And social signals are we covered a little bit, and all it really does is it just tells Google that, hey, you're out there, you're playing your real business. So they see that you're a legitimate business because you have social website properties. And now in today's world, in 2016 here, almost 2017, yay. In 2016, we have pretty much any business has social media profiles pointing into it. And so that's what you need. And you don't necessarily have to have thousands of followers or any of this other stuff out there. You just need those website properties set up. You just need some links coming into you, and a little bit of juice, love, and a little bit of links going into these social properties, just so Google can see who they are, and that can easily be done through something like a PR release and things along those lines of pointing to your social website properties. So you don't have to do a lot there. Lastly, we're going to talk about social proof. And so social proof helps to validate your business and create trust. So I've already kind of gone on my rant when it comes to doing social proof for your website using the Google Map reviews. That's legitimate, right? Well, Yelp does it. You can have those social proofs on your website. So that social proof on your website might be testimonials, multiple testimonials that you have from customers, and you can link back to the exact review on, let's say, Google Maps or in Yelp or something along those lines. And you can quote people and everything like that in your testimonials page. It could be seals. So a seal from an SSL certificate. So if you're an e-commerce business, chances are you have an SSL, and you have that site security or that McAfee Safe or Norton Safe, Verizon or whatever it is on your website. It could be the BBB logo. I know with my business, I hated the BBB. I think it's a racket. It's a scam. I don't like the prices they charge. They really do nothing for you. And if somebody complains, you can already address it without being a BBB member. They do no background on you. It's really just a scam deal in my mind. It's kind of an antiquated business model. So that's my second rant. Sorry, but that BBB seal is worth the money. So being able to put that BBB logo on my website, it gives customers that warm, fuzzy feeling of, okay, there's somebody there I can go to if I have an issue. It's not just this company. I can go to the BBB. And most people know about the BBB because it's well branded. So definitely helps if you're mentioned in an article. You get something. You work with a PR department, and you get something in your local paper. Just call up your local paper. If you have something semi-newsworthy, give them a call and see, hey, if you can work in an article or so with them. And even if you're just opening your business in a new area, you might be able to get in a featured magazine that's local. My area has its own magazine that they send out to all the residents. And you'd be able to say, as seen on blah blah blah, and people in my area, everybody gets this magazine. So if I was able to put on their logo on my website as seen in, people trust this magazine that's local and they're familiar with it. So it has that familiarity and creating that social proof for me. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here today on that note. And I could talk a lot more about this subject matter. And we're already 50 minutes in or so. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. But it's something we're going to dive more into here in the near future. But this should kind of give you a big focus on what you can do for your business, and give you a few things to think about as you start planning your local SEO strategy. So again, this is Jacob Erdy with MarketingPlayBook.co. Feel free and join us. Join our newsletter. We have a private Facebook page and several other ways of connecting with us. Just go to MarketingPlayBook.co and click the community button on the top right, and you'll be able to connect with us. That is it for today. I hope it helps, and take care.